Morning, everyone. Would like to welcome you to the Hamilton County Board of Election meeting. Today is December the 10th, 2024. It's approximately 9:37. And also would like to indicate that proper notice has been given as required under the Ohio Revised Code 121.22. We're going to begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm asking anyone who has served our country or is serving our country to please lead us in the pledge. And thank you for those who have served our country or serving our country to help us with that pledge. We have all received as board members our meeting minutes from November the 18th, 2024, November the 20th, 2024, November the 22nd, 2024, and November the 26th, 2024. Are there any additions, changes, or updates regarding those minutes?
I have nothing on the minutes. I'll move approval of all 4 sets of minutes.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? That message passes. Okay. Next, we are having on our agenda, and we're going to follow it very succinctly, investigation regarding a voting anomaly at Sycamore Presbyterian Church polling location. Mr. Linzer, can you give us some information and update?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. As part of the certification process, the board had previously reviewed an anomaly regarding a 12-0 statement of religious objection. The board had elected to conduct an investigation into this anomaly, and at the direction of the board, staff issued subpoenas to 3 witnesses to appear at this meeting today. Those witnesses are Mercedes Triba, who is the voter, Deborah Rain Triba, who is another voter registered at the same address, and Patsy Hall, who is the poll worker. And it appears that Ms. Hall has appeared, but we do not have any other guests here today.
Okay, based on the information and the fact that we are missing Mercedes Tribal, is that her name?
Triba.
Triba. It would appear, and we just started our meeting, but I hate to make a decision before our meeting gets started, but we need to move on. It would appear that that witness is missing, but we do have 2 other individuals here.
Yeah, so the board could call up Ms. Hall and question her at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we should. My position is that we should conduct our investigation and begin with Ms. Hall, and then I'd like to place a couple more things of record as I anticipate this record being reviewed ultimately either by the prosecutor or by the Secretary of State. While I've got the floor, I'll just say that I'm very disappointed that 3 citizens of our community chose to ignore our subpoena. But I don't know what the pleasure of the board would be on enforcing our subpoena. But I do want to thank our poll worker for honoring the subpoena. So my position is that we should begin our investigation by taking sworn testimony from our poll worker, Patsy Hall.
Any more discussion?
I just want to ask, when we sent the subpoenas out, how were they delivered? Do we know?
The subpoena returns are in your packet, and they were delivered to the address that the voter has on file with us.
Was it serviced through mail or was it?
Oh, the sheriff's office delivered it
Okay.
personally.
Any other questions?
So the person in question was served personally?
Well, it wasn't personal service, but the subpoenas were left on their door if they were not.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Any more discussion? Okay, based on that, I'd like to address Mr. Linzer, if you want to continue with the process for us.
Ms. Hall, would you mind standing to the podium and the court reporter will swear you in?
Press the button on the microphone.
Got it.
That better?
That's much better.
Okay.
Ms. Hall, I just want to thank you for taking your time, your valuable time to appear with us this morning. And I'd like to ask anyone, if you have any questions of Ms. Hall, if you could proceed, please.
I certainly have questions may I proceed, Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yeah. Ms. Hall, good morning to you.
Good morning.
First of all, thank you for your service as a poll worker. Let me state something I hope is obvious to you, that you're not the target of this investigation. People hear subpoenas and investigation, and they see the board coming together. Not that at all. As a matter of fact, I think I can speak for everybody up here when I say we're very grateful for your service as a poll worker, and we're just trying to get to the bottom of what transpired in this situation. I'll also say, having been on this board for 15 or more years, I really appreciate the note that you placed in the materials here that I'm going to ask you about. And we're just trying to get sworn testimony, make a record so we can. Now, 3 people just came in the back there. I wonder if those are the other 3 subpoenaed witnesses. Just thinking they might be. I see 3 of them.
I think
So anyway, but
proceed. Yes.
well, Madam Chair, it's my position from years in the courts that, in fact, if she's going to offer testimony relating to them, I think they have a right,
Okay.
due process right to perhaps hear it. So,
Okay, so
Madam
we
Chair,
have-
wonder if-
I'll go check.
could you? That'd be
Okay.
great. I just see 3 people coming in. It seems.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Those are our other 3 subpoena witnesses? Okay, thank you.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
I think there's a 3rd, but, all
Why
right.
don't we just hold off for a minute?
Yeah, I think that's right, too. I think that everybody should have a right to be heard from everyone else. So,
Right.
Ms. Hall, if you want to just stand down for a minute, thank you.
Yes. Why don't we proceed and then come back when the other person comes back? Is that okay with you, Mr. Linzer?
Sure. So just so I'm clear for the record, the board wants to proceed to the other items and then return to this one?
Yeah, I think we'll
Yes.
just
Okay.
sort of informally table item number 4 right now.
Okay, next on the agenda is the 2024 presidential election anomaly report. Mr. Linzer?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Board staff have investigated the incidents of voters who attempted to cast 2 ballots. We have been able to contact most of the voters on your list. There is a report in your packet. However, there are some voters for whom either we don't have a good phone number yet or we have yet to hear back from them. As we've done in the past, our intention is to send a letter to these voters and ask them to contact the director and deputy director, and we will give you a updated report in our January meeting. So there's no action to take on the anomaly report at this time.
Okay.
That's fine with us, fine with me.
Sounds fine. Next is the discussion on the 2024 presidential election audit results.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. The 2024 presidential election audit was conducted over the last several weeks. We audited 3 contests. That was U.S. President, U.S. Senate, and Judge for the Court of Common Pleas. In all 3 cases, the hand count audit passed the 90% threshold of a risk-limiting audit. In the case of the U.S. Senate race, we had a 99.981 accuracy rate. In the case of the Court of Appeals, we had a 99.994 accuracy rate. And in the case of the presidential election, we had a 100% accuracy rate. So staff's recommendation is that the board approve the results of the audit.
I'll move that we approve the results of the required audit of the 2024 presidential election.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? And that motion carries. Next, we will move on with personnel matters. Mr. Linzer?
As per board policy, certain staff have the ability to cash out vacation in lieu of, take pay in lieu of vacation time. That is subject to appropriated funds being present. That is the case this year. There are 3 employees who are eligible. They are in your packet, and the board simply needs to approve their pay in lieu of vacation.
I'll happily make the motion to approve it. I know that, especially in a presidential year, it's hard to take vacation around this building, and this is something that's come up before, and I'm in favor. So I'll move that we pay out the vacation leave, pay it out in lieu of leave, consistent with the recommendation of the board staff.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? That motion carries. Okay. Next is the approval and review of our 2025 board meeting schedule. And Mr. Linzer.
Yes, the proposed meeting schedule is in your packet. It conforms with the board's typical practice of meeting on the first Tuesday and with additional meetings surrounding the planned elections for 2025.
I would be quick to approve. I would just say that I know for a fact I have a conflict on Tuesday, February the 11th, so I'm out of the area. I don't know if the board is willing to reschedule that, or want to go with just 3.
We can always approve the schedule now and reschedule it,
Fair enough.
when
Yeah.
the time
I'm
comes.
fine with that. So I'll move approval of the schedule then as recommended.
Any more discussion?
I second it.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? That motion carries. Next on the agenda is, yes.
Madam Chair, I think the third witness or the fourth
Okay,
witness.
Let's give her a moment to get seated. Mr. Lancer, I'm going to turn it over to you.
So now it appears all 4 witnesses, I'm sorry, I misspoke earlier, I said 2, there were 3 other people subpoenaed, and now all 4 witnesses that the board has subpoenaed are present. So I guess it's the pleasure of the board as to which witness to call first and how to proceed.
I'd like to call Miss Mercedes Tybel first, please. Triba. I keep messing your name up, sorry. Triba. And when you step to the podium, could you please give us your name and spell it if it's necessary, and your address?
Mercedes, just like the car. Tryba, Tryba.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, the court reporter will swear Ms. Triba in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And again, thank you for appearing. You did receive the information, and we just want to clarify some information. And I would like to be the first to ask you a question, and we will ask questions, and you have the right to respond, based on the facts. And do you have a sincerely held religious belief that protects you from having your photograph taken on Election Day?
You're referring to the paper that they suggested that I sign when I was at
Yes, we have the paperwork. Yes, we have the form that you signed. And my just question was,
when I heard you.
Yes.
When I was there, they did not run my name to see if I was registered in the computer, which they had done previously in all other elections that I have voted at the same location, at the Sycamore Presbyterian. And they did not run my name, and they gave me a hard time. I had my ID present, and one of the people at the table suggested that I sign a paper that says the paper you're referring to. Because they said otherwise I would need to go to the Board of Elections within 4 days to provide an ID. Well, I was providing an ID, and I said that was not going to happen. And the woman on the left said, well, you can sign this paper. And I said, fine. So then they gave me the paper. I signed the paper. And then they gave me my ballot, and I went ahead and took the ballot. And then when I came back, she said, you'll still have to go after I did my ballot and turned it in, which was not what she said. So
after you signed it, the comment was made that you would,
After I signed it and took my ballot and turned everything in, then they said that I would still have to go, which I said that wasn't going to happen. I provided an ID, and it would be the same ID, and if it wasn't satisfactory, why would it be satisfactory for you?
okay. So you said you felt that you were given a hard time, or was it?
Yes, I felt that.
What, can you explain what that means?
The woman on the right was hostile, and she said that that she didn't believe that was the case, that I didn't, I shouldn't be signing that paper. And neither one of them, again, like I said, looked me up in the register to see if I was registered to vote there, and I had been in the following, 3 or 4 cycles.
Thank you, thank you.
I just want to ask, you said you provided an ID. What kind of ID did you provide?
The state of Illinois, I have 2 residences, and I'm frequently back and forth, but my main residence is in Sims.
So you understand, in the state of Ohio,
It's never been a problem before.
no, we've never accepted an out-of-state ID.
It's
not
never been a
valid.
problem before.
Well, the
And
law has,
I'm registered to vote
I
at
understand.
that location. I hear what you're saying, but it's never been a problem. So why would I think that it was a problem this time?
Well, the law changed, earlier in the year where you had strict photo ID. It wasn't strict photo ID before, but now that they have strict photo ID, you're required to show
I had a photo ID.
a state of Ohio valid ID, which can't be expired. That's what the law says.
Expired.
Okay.
Any-
I have no other questions.
Okay, any other questions?
Yes, I do. So, ma'am, thanks again for honoring the subpoena and being here, albeit a little bit late, but I'm glad you're still here. So you did, just want to be clear, this is an affidavit of religious objection. That is your signature on that document, is it not?
I thought we've already established this.
I'm just asking you to establish that that's your signature. I don't think we've established that part yet. So is that your signature on the document there?
I don't have my glasses on, but
Okay.
probably.
Can somebody pass her this for me? Is there a staffer who can just pass that up to her for me? I'd appreciate it so she can get a closer look at it. Thank you. Just take a close look at that and see if that's your signature. That's my only question right now on that particular piece of it. Means yes, correct?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Thank you, Jeremy. Appreciate it. Okay, so again, this is an affidavit of religious objection where you signed under penalty of perjury that you declare that you do not, under penalty of election falsification, you do not have a photo identification because I have a sincere religious objection to being photographed. So let me just be clear to get this out of the way. You do not have a religious objection to being photographed, right?
I didn't say that.
Okay, but I just want to be clear. I'm asking you the question. I'll ask it again to make sure you understood it because I don't think you answered it the first time. You do not have a religious objection to being photographed, right?
I did not say that.
Again, ma'am, I can just politely ask the question one more time. Do you have a religious objection
I'm
to
not
being
going to
photographed?
talk about my religion today.
Okay. Can you see these photographs, ma'am?
Yeah.
Are
they're
those of
from-
you? Those are of you, aren't they?
They're my Facebook, yeah.
Yeah, this is your Facebook page, right? Okay. And these are posted on your Facebook page, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you clearly don't have a problem having your photograph taken if you're posting pictures of yourself on your Facebook page, right?
I don't believe that paper applies to Facebook.
Yeah, I'm not here to debate it. I just want to gather some facts for our investigation.
Well,
so-
that's not a fact regarding what you're saying on the
Well,
paper.
Just again, ma'am, with all respect, you swore out an affidavit saying you did not have a photo identification because you have a religious objection. So that triggered this board to have to
That's
create
not
this.
an ID. The ones on my Facebook are not an ID.
I'm certainly well aware of what an ID is, but what I'm concerned about is this affidavit that you signed
Yes.
suggesting that you have a religious objection. I've asked 3 times, and again, with all respect, I just
Will
want to
you
get an
read
answer.
it again for me?
to the
Because I
question.
don't think that applies to Facebook.
You've interrupted me. Let me just ask one more time and see if we can get an answer. I just want an answer of
I
record.
gave you an
Do you
answer,
have a
sir.
religious objection to having your photograph
Not
taken?
discussing my religion today.
Okay, fair enough. So you testified that you spend some of your time in Illinois. Do you have a valid Ohio identification?
I do not.
No, okay. And did you vote in this election in the state of Illinois?
I did not. I'm a registered voter. How could I vote in Illinois if I'm a registered voter?
I can answer the question. I've been on this
More
board a long time, and
Presbyterian
I've seen that
school.
occur, actually. We've
Okay.
seen people vote in 2 states. That does happen, unfortunately.
Okay, well, that does not apply to me.
Okay. Well, I mean, again, that's the concern here, right? Because we're about to
Your
hear
concern.
we're about to hear testimony that you showed up with an Illinois ID, and then you swore an affidavit that you had a religious objection to having your photograph taken, although your Facebook page within days of the election shows photographs of you. So that's why I'm just trying to establish. and it's
Not
okay that
within
you chose
days,
to
not
answer.
within days.
Okay.
That.
I want the record to reflect I'm repeatedly being interrupted as I'm just trying to gather basic information for this board to do its
And I'm
public
answering your
business.
question, sir.
You still haven't answered my question as to whether you have a
Within
religious
days,
objection to having your
within
photograph
days,
taken.
there have not been anything posted on my Facebook within days with my photo. That is incorrect information. And if you're looking,
Oh,
sir,
fair enough.
you can ask me a 5th time if you'd like.
I might.
Okay.
I'm not through with my questioning, Madam Chair. I'll be done here in just a minute. So I want to talk about your residency here in Hamilton County. You know, to vote in Ohio, you have to be a resident of the state of Ohio.
That's
And yet,
correct.
it appears you've already told us that you have a driver's license in Illinois. Why would you choose to have an Illinois driver's license when you're an Ohio resident?
Because I live in both states.
Okay.
I have a home in both states,
Okay.
which I've already told you.
What makes you choose to vote in Ohio rather than Illinois if you have a home in both states?
Because I primarily live at the residence in Ohio, which I've already stated.
Okay. How often do you think you're in Illinois?
I don't know. It depends on the year, to be honest.
Okay. Now, you testified that, and you used the word hostile, so that one of the poll workers was hostile. I just want to identify, if you could, now with all, I don't want to create an awkward situation here, but one of the poll
She's
workers
right
is-
there.
Okay, that's the one that you're, okay, we'll hear from her in a minute.
Sure.
She'll testify as well. So, ma'am, again, I'm just going to lay this out for you and then give you a chance to explain it, because this isn't a gotcha process. I'm just trying to get to the bottom of the facts here. And if people don't have a religious objection, but they swear that they do, and then evade the laws of the state of Ohio, our obligation is to keep that from happening. Do you have an explanation you want to offer us as to why? And by the way, so you're clear, your vote, let me just finish. Your vote did count in this election. This board voted to count your ballot. And I want the record to reflect, she's winking at members of the board. But anyway, I want you to know that your vote did count. My concern here is that you evaded the law that applies to every other citizen of this state when they have to show a valid photo identification. And you did so suggesting you have a religious objection. Do you have an explanation for that? And I'll be finished with my question. if
I've
you can
already
answer.
offered an explanation. I'm not going to repeat myself again.
At this point, I don't have anything else. I may, based on the testimony of the other witnesses. Thank you.
Ms. Tybal, do you have any other comments before you step away from the
Any
microphone?
questions?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Uh,
Yeah, go
no, I don't think so.
ahead. Madam
Do you want me
Chair.
to stay here?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay.
Ms. Triba,
Yeah.
you indicate that you have homes in both Ohio and Illinois. Do you own these homes?
No. I work for my family.
Okay, so you own neither the home here
That's
in Ohio
correct.
nor Illinois?
That's correct.
Do you pay rent here or there?
I do not.
You don't pay rent at either
No, I live with my
location?
family.
You live with your family?
That's correct.
Oh, you live in a family home in Illinois as well?
They own the buildings, yes.
Who is they?
My family.
Your parents who are with you here? I see somebody waving to me in the background.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Um,
We have rentals.
Okay, and you don't pay rent in either Illinois?
No, I work
or-
for my family.
Do you pay taxes
Currently, no.
anywhere?
No.
But you have income?
From my family.
You get paid, what's your job?
I do a lot of rehab for the rentals. One of my majors was art, and so I went to Xavier. And so I do a lot of drywall, I do painting, I do simple plumbing, simple electrical, stain floors, whatever it requires to prepare for a new renter. and it varies.
So, okay, so you do physical labor, which is great.
Sure.
Skilled, sounds like you do a lot of skilled labor. And you do that in both Illinois and Ohio? At the
Yes.
properties your family
Yes.
owns? And you earn income from
Yes.
those two, and yet you pay no taxes to,
Well, they just pay any of my bills. That's the form of payment. So
I'm sorry, what's that?
any bills that I have, they just pay my bills.
Who is they?
My parents, the people I work for.
Pay your
Yeah.
bills?
Uh-huh.
Do you pay utilities anywhere?
Not at this time.
Okay. So, Mr. Triantafilo asked you,
Mm-hmm.
you know, where you live and how long you live there. I mean,
Yeah.
can you give some estimate of how much time you spend in Illinois versus?
Maybe a
Ohio?
month.
A month in Illinois
Maybe, yeah.
in a year?
Hmm.
And in 11 months here?
Maybe, yeah. It
Okay.
depends on the year. Like this past month, we almost didn't get your summons, or the subpoena. We almost didn't get it. The only reason we did is because my parents were flying out to see my brother in Florida, and so they were home for 24 hours. Otherwise, we wouldn't have gotten it. So this particular year, it's been a little bit more, but I've had more work to do there.
So the subpoenas were sent where, Mr. Eckert? Here to the Terwilliger Avenue address?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. They were stuck in the door frame.
But you just said you spend 11 months here.
Exactly, but I said it varies per year. That's why I was vague.
This year, you've been here 11 months, is what you say, in 2024 about? And I don't need the exact number.
And the majority of that time spent in Illinois this year was this past month. So we almost didn't even get the subpoena.
Your Illinois driver's license, does it have a photo on it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's from like three years ago. I think it expires next year.
Okay. Madam Chair, I don't think I have any more questions right now. I may have additional questions for Ms. Triba.
I have one additional on that until later. Ms. Tribe, do you have an opinion about Ohio's voter identification law, photo identification law that just passed?
I'm just finding out about it now, so I don't think I've had enough time to form an opinion on that.
Okay, thank you for that.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, I do have a couple more questions. Sorry, Ms. Triba. How long have you lived in both Illinois and here in Cincinnati?
I went to Xavier on a scholarship in 2002, so I've been back and forth since 2002.
So, are you originally from Illinois?
That's correct.
Got it. Okay, so you came here for school in 2002 through 2006, about?
I think it was actually 2007.
Okay.
I earned 2 degrees from
Okay.
Xavier.
Congrats. It's a great
Thank
school.
you. It is.
And so are you, the home in Illinois, is it your former family home where you grew
No.
up? No? Is that still in the family?
No,
No? Okay. You live in one of the apartments that
one of the rentals.
you own? Okay.
Uh-huh.
There was something else. No, I'll come back to it if I remember. I think that's all for now, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for responding to the questions.
Mm-hmm.
And you may have a seat at this particular
Okay,
point.
thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Windsor?
So there are 3 other witnesses. It's the pleasure of the board as to who they would like to question next.
That's the poll worker, Ms. Hall. You have been sworn in.
Ms. Hall was previously sworn in.
That's
so.
right, yes. Any questions?
Yeah, Ms. Hall, thanks again. I know we got sort of interrupted right when we were getting ready to get started. So you now have the benefit of hearing at least one side of what occurred here. I'm going to start, though, with the note that you put on this affidavit of religious objection, and I'm going to read it so everyone knows what it says. You have a star next to it. So, again, thank you for making the note. That's I think, good practice by our poll workers. Am I right, Mr. Acker? So anyway, it says no valid ID, and then you put did have Illinois photo ID driver's license. And then you wrote, does this every year, has residence in Illinois and Ohio, and then you signed it. So thank you. Can you tell us, Ms. Hall, what happened that day, the best of your recollection with this voter?
I was working the VAT with the deputy poll worker, and Miss Triba came to the desk saying, I'm not going to vote provisionally. I've registered here. I've been here before. And I said, yes, I recognize you. We couldn't find her in the poll book. We put her name and her address, and she did not show up in the EPB. So I said, you'll need to vote provisionally. For your vote to count, you'll need to go to the Board of Elections within 4 days. And she said, I've never had to do that before. I'm not going to do that. And I read, for your vote to count, I read right out of the booklet that you give us. For your vote to count, you must present a valid Ohio ID at the Board of Elections within 4 days for your vote to count, for your provisional vote to count. And she went to sit down and started filling out her envelope. I didn't hear the poll worker suggest that she fill out the religious exemption, but she got up from filling out the form, came back and asked for a religious exemption. And I said, okay. And I held her photo ID from the state of Illinois and gave it back to her. She filled out the religious exemption and voted then after she had filled out the envelope. Maybe before she filled out the envelope, I don't recall that detail. But then brought them both back to us, and that's it. She slid it in the box that we have there for the provisionals.
Did you ever get to the bottom of why she's not in our electronic poll book, the EPB as you call it?
I don't know. She said she's done this for years, and she has, or I said that, and she's been there to vote at Sims. Always has to come to the VAT, always has to vote provisionally, and I don't know. I don't know any more than that.
Okay.
Because I thought if you vote provisionally, that would put you into the EPB. That was a form of registering
Right.
to vote. But
And the VAT's the voter assistance table, just so
yes,
the record's
yes,
clear.
voter
Okay.
assistance table.
And then on this question of religious exemption, you did not suggest to her, you as a poll worker,
I did not.
suggest to her that she fill out the 12-0 religious exemption form, right?
Correct.
Right. And did you hear any other poll worker, any of your colleagues there, suggest to her to do the religious exemption form?
I did not.
No. So did the words religious exemption come from her?
Yes.
And you heard her say those words?
Yes, she didn't give the number of the form. She asked for the religious exemption paper.
And you saw her sign it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
After she filled out the religious exemption form, did you let her vote?
Yes. Yeah.
Provisionally.
Yes.
Did you yourself see the Illinois ID?
Yes. And so did the other poll worker with me. Yep.
Okay. I don't have anything else for Ms. Hall.
I just have one question. And I commend you for your comments here, because you said she does this every year. So that means if she does this every year, that she regularly votes here in the state of Ohio. Is that what you
Yes.
meant by that?
She has been at Sims, and just as she said, she's been there for at least the last 3 or 4 years, coming in to vote, always provisional, always without a valid ID, and not in the EPB,
Okay.
and not in the electronic poll book.
Yeah, Mr. Lanter, sometimes I'm aware that maybe a person's name may not appear in that. Does her name appear in on our voter list?
I don't want to speculate from the dais. So I can confirm that Ms. Triba is registered to vote in Hamilton County. When a voter appears without valid ID, the poll workers can't scan the ID, so they have to do a manual search to find the voter. And
Okay.
if they cannot find the voter, then they are supposed to have the voter vote provisionally, which is procedure in this case.
Okay.
And both, the gal, I could say her name, but she's not subpoenaed, so I didn't think I should. But the other poll worker and I both looked in the electronic poll book for the voter,
Mm-hmm.
so.
Okay, thank you.
I do have a question.
Yes,
You could say that
Mr.
other person's
I do.
name, just for the record. I'm sorry. I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Just wanted, if you want to make that name of record, that'd be great. Just a poll worker.
Beth Weber.
Thank you. Sorry, Mr. Mayor.
So I do have a question. So we do understand that when the voter comes in, they are required to show a valid state of Ohio ID or a photo ID, whatever
Or
kind of
a
acceptable
passport
documentation
or-
is
yeah.
acceptable. So she could have voted a regular ballot. Is that correct? If she would have had a correct Ohio ID or a federal ID, there was a passport.
We could not find her in the electronic poll book. And because of that, I think we would have had to have voted her provisionally, and then that would go to the Board of Elections and you would determine.
True.
Yeah.
So on the manual search, there's like 3 different ways you can look up a voter, right?
And we
You
did
tried
them.
every way you could,
Yes, sir.
birth date,
Birth date, her address, her name. Yeah,
and nothing came back.
correct.
Okay. No further questions.
So my final question is, but you knew her from before?
Yes. Yeah.
So you knew that she was a regular voter at that particular precinct,
Yes.
polling area?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't know. I know that she has voted there and voted provisionally every time. That's what I know.
Okay, thank you.
Uh,
Any
Ma-
other questions?
Yes, Madam Chair. Ms. Hall, thank you again, 1, for your service as a poll worker, and 2, for being here today. When Beth Weber was the other woman sitting with you
Yes.
at the VAT,
Yes.
when Ms. Triba was given the provisional ballot envelope to fill out, did she go and sit somewhere alone, do you recall?
She did. She sat at a table apart from we have a table there that voters can fill out there. We tend to have
Okay,
a few
but was she
provisionals.
alone, or was there anybody from,
She was alone. I
Alone.
didn't see anyone else with her.
how far from you was that table?
Probably from you to I.
Okay,
From
so
this-
no
this distance,
obstructions?
you to me. Yep.
And the entire, she sat down, filled some things out, and then came back and asked you for the 12-0 form?
It was a busy day. I wasn't watching her to see if she was using her phone, or I
Well,
don't
but-
know anything else. I wasn't.
Right,
Yeah,
but
but
she
she
sat
was
there,
there,
filled
yes.
some,
Yes.
and then came back and asked for this specific form, the
Yes.
religious exemption
Yep.
form, correct? And you didn't see her converse with anybody during that time?
I don't think she conversed with anyone during
No,
that time.
no other poll worker was dealing with her at that time. You've already stated that you didn't hear anybody mention that phrase to her, religious exemption, 12-0, suggesting that she fill out that document. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Was Ms. Weber next to you the entire time
Next to me,
this
yes.
occurred?
Yes.
And you never heard her say anything like that either, did you?
I didn't.
Okay. Is the, and I will ask this of you if you know, if not, I'll ask staff here. On the provisional ballot envelope that needs to be filled out by the voter, is there information on it that discusses the 12-0 religious exemption?
I don't.
I've been handed. Yes, there is.
Okay.
I just will state for the record here that on the provisional ballot affirmation, there are a number of sections in which you provide identification, a driver's license, a passport card, military ID, are some of those. The final one, if you do not have a photo ID because you have a religious objection, et cetera. That is checked off here, and I assume that was done by Ms. Triba. She has already testified that she signed this affidavit, and I can ask her if she wants to come back up if she placed the X here. But, so this is the document that was provided to her
Yes.
to sign up for a provisional ballot, correct?
That's a copy of
And
her
so
provisional.
it's obvious that there is an opportunity to vote without a photo ID, a valid photo ID. Ms. Hall, did you also explain to her that the law had changed in Ohio and that you
Yes.
had to show a,
Because she said the last time she didn't need to present a photo ID, and I read it directly from the book, so it was feeling a little contentious.
Right.
I read it directly out of the book, so I didn't make any errors with what I said to her.
Oh.
And Beth Weber could corroborate that if you.
okay, so you explained that for the first time, a valid photo ID had to be presented in order to get a ballot and vote, correct?
Yes,
And then you presented her this document, the provisional ballot affirmation document that she took, and she came back with the section marked, "I have a religious objection."
yes.
And this all occurred, and at no time did you hear anybody suggest to her that she should fill out that section of this affirmation, correct?
Correct.
Okay. In the past, I think you said this, I just want for my own recollection, that in the past, while she did vote, she always voted provisionally, in your recollection.
Yes.
Did she ever present a photo ID to you or any type of identification documents
She had identification documents.
in the
um,
past?
In the past, maybe, I would have said utility bills, but she said she doesn't pay them. I don't know.
I mean, our bias
I
is to
don't-
allow people to vote provisionally.
Right.
And then we figure it out
try
here.
to do that. I
Right.
completely agree.
Which, and
And I know that we've always voted her provisionally. I don't remember what documents she presented in the past. There was never an Ohio picture ID. I can say that. There was never an Ohio photo ID.
Okay, yes, and, we've heard that she is registered here in Ohio, which I recognize. My concern is that there is an official document that under penalty of law, an affirmation was made that that seems to have no basis in fact, regardless of whether or not she is a registered voter. There seems to be activity here that is contrary to Ohio law. So, thank you, Ms. Hall. I have nothing further at this point.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Ms. Hall. Have a seat.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. Thanks again for your service as a poll worker.
The next witness is to be called as Deborah Ryan Tribal. Ms. Tribal, Deborah, thank you so much for taking your time to appear with us today. We're going to ask that you get sworn in. Thank you. And your name is Deborah Ryan Tribal, right?
Correct.
Okay, does anyone have any questions of Ms. Tribal? Deborah?
I do. Ms. Triba, first of all, thank you for honoring your subpoena. And I'm sorry you've been dragged into this. This is unfortunate from where I sit. And to me, it's relatively obvious what happened here. But I have to ask you, especially
I
since
agree, it's all very unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we agree. Maybe not for the same reasons. I guess we'll find out. But anyway, my questions are more just about, this is your daughter, correct?
Correct,
Yeah. And she's 41 years of age, correct?
correct.
Yeah. And have you known her since birth? I mean, just an obvious question, but this is what lawyers do. You've known her since birth, right?
Yes.
Okay. Does she currently have a religious affiliation that makes having her picture taken objectionable in some
You
fashion?
have to ask her that. She's an adult,
Okay.
and you've had that opportunity.
So I'm also have the opportunity under the laws of the state of Ohio to subpoena witnesses to investigate voter anomalies and election falsification. That's our obligation under the law. And witnesses are compelled to testify under oath and by subpoena. So we have a couple options. I could ask this board to get a judge to force your testimony, because unless you have some reason not to, you could consult an attorney. So I'm just, with all respect, I don't want to be difficult. I'm just trying to get to the facts, because the facts, as I understand them, is someone evaded Ohio's photo identification law under false pretenses. And we actually counted what I believe now, in my mind, to be a false and faulty ballot for someone who did not present a valid photo ID. So I'm looking to protect, I'm sorry, I'll finish in a minute, and I'll give you a chance.
I don't feel it's appropriate that she's not being under cross-examining for this. She's one of the witnesses. I just would ask you if we can respect that as board members, because I'm having a little difficulty with your presentation to her. You can ask her the question.
Yeah.
Ask her the question. I'm not saying don't not ask her the question, but I think it has a lot to do with our ability to facilitate this process so that we can hear what she has to say without fear of being uncomfortable, or, okay?
So
Well,
I would
I'm
respectfully
extremely
ask that my
uncomfortable.
fellow board member not interrupt me again. I have an opportunity and an obligation, I believe, to continue the investigation. I intend to do that without interruption, and I'll offer my fellow board members the very same courtesy not to interrupt them. So, again, back to it, Ms. Triba. I'm asking just to get your testimony today about what religious affiliation that your daughter, that you've known since birth for 41 years, might possess that would keep her from providing a valid photo ID under Ohio law.
And I'm telling you, I'm not aware.
Not-
That's my response.
Not aware of a religious objection.
I am not aware of this whole process, or what, I don't know.
Okay. Ma'am, so I want to talk just for a minute about your residence address. Your daughter's testimony is that she lives 11 months with you. Is that correct? Do you agree with that testimony under oath?
I mean, I can't give you a specific. I think it depends on what's being done where, as to who's where when. Okay? I would imagine that that's probably pretty accurate. I think, I guess. I mean, I don't count the months. I don't count the days. So I guess that, yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't keep a calendar
Okay, fair enough.
of when I'm here and when I'm there.
So,
And sometimes we're,
Okay.
I'm there and she's not. I mean, yeah.
and ma'am, again, I'm just trying to get truthful testimony. I'm not looking to make you uncomfortable. I appreciate you being here, but I also need to get to the bottom of what occurred. This is a family member of yours. I imagine you take photographs at different family events, Thanksgiving, Christmas, like a lot of American families do, or whatever holiday, religious holiday you might celebrate. Do you ever take photographs of your daughter?
Actually, I don't think I have a photograph of her on my phone.
No? Okay.
I don't think.
But
I
has she
do.
ever expressed?
That's terrible, but
Yeah, because
when it's your
she
child, right?
Right,
So,
right. So ma'am, she's refused to answer the question about whether she has a religious objection to having a photograph taken, something she swore is a fact. So I'm just trying to get to it a different way, because
I understand
Yeah.
what it is you want to know.
Yeah.
And I am testifying under oath, and therefore, I'm trying to give you very accurate responses to what my knowledge is.
Okay.
I'm really doing the best I can do for you here.
Okay, one more time and I'll be done, because the first time I asked it, you said ask her. I'm going to ask it again. Do you know, I have children, a lot of us do. Do you know if your daughter has a specific religious conviction that prohibits her from being photographed? It's an easy question.
I answered it for you.
Yeah.
You can continue to ask me the same question a different way, and I will give you the same response.
Which, again, for the record, is non-responsive. So I'm going to be finished with this part of it.
Oh, good.
But, yeah. So, but, you know, just so you're clear, I just don't, I feel like you, and frankly, your daughter have been evasive to a basic question, and that is there truly a religious objection? If there wasn't, then let's just get on with it. But anyway, fair enough. All right, ma'am. Thank you. I have nothing else for the witness.
Any other questions? Anyone else? Any questions?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I do. I'm
Yes.
sorry. Thank you, Ms. Triba.
Sure.
Your daughter explained briefly the nature of your business. Is this a business that you and your husband own?
Yes.
Could you explain for us what it does?
Well, these are rentals.
Okay, I don't know what these are.
We own buildings
Okay,
in Oak Park, Illinois,
okay,
right? And they're rentals.
okay. Apartments, commercial, residential, or
Yeah. Residential.
residential?
Yeah.
How many units?
There, well, we live in one of them, so.
Okay,
There are 3 two-flats. 3 two-flats.
and so did you say 3 duplexes?
You could call them that, sure, yeah. I
Okay.
think that the terminology
That's
is
fine.
probably more
So 6
Chicago.
units.
Yeah, 6 units.
6 units in Oak
Right,
Park.
right, right, right.
Okay. And do the 3 of you live in one unit, or do you live in separate units, you and your?
3 of us live in the same unit.
Okay. Do you own units here in Cincinnati?
I have a home here.
A home, okay. That's the home on Terwilliger.
That would be correct.
Okay. And do you have any business interests here in Cincinnati? Other than the home, you own the real estate in,
I'm sorry, I don't
do
quite
you own
understand
it?
the question.
Do you own any other real estate here?
Other than my home?
Correct.
No, I don't.
Okay,
I moved here to take care of my parents.
okay, your parents are from here, Cincinnati?
I was raised no, they're not. I was raised in northeastern Ohio.
Okay,
So what it did is, it put me, I guess, 4.5 hours from Chicago, and maybe 2.5, maybe 3 from my parents.
It-
So, and I'm the nurse, so, you know, I didn't feel like, I didn't want to leave my sister alone to care for my parents. So I worked at Children's as a clinical nurse manager with adolescents. And our son went to Moeller. She was on a scholarship to Xavier at the time. And so we sold a home there and bought a home here, and
you
and my
sold,
husband remained in Chicago.
okay, you sold a home where, in Chicago?
Yeah,
Okay.
on the North Shore.
Got it. And you bought a home here so you could take care of your parents, and they were where, in northeastern Ohio?
Yes.
Okay. And when did you move
We
here?
were in an assisted type living situation.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
When did you move here to Cincinnati?
What year, Mark? I don't know. 2006. There you go.
And at that time, your daughter was at Xavier, and your son, did he start at Moeller then in
He did.
2006? Okay. Did he graduate from Moeller?
Yeah.
Good. Congrats. It's
Yeah,
a
he
great,
did.
great school.
Yeah, he graduated double major, double honors.
Do you have an Ohio driver's license?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you know if your husband has a Ohio driver's license? I can ask him when
Yeah,
he
why don't
comes
you do
up.
that?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. you'll have to talk
Okay.
to him. I don't know.
And
I'm a
so
housekeeper.
the your business interests are in Oak Park. How often are you here versus Oak Park, do you think, in a year?
I guess, you know, we're going with 11 months, so 11 months, I really don't
So-
know.
So even though,
I'm more here than I am there.
okay,
And the reason for that is because I've been, renovating this home, upgrading this home.
got it. No further questions. Thank you, Ms. Triva.
Any questions? Ms. Tribal?
What?
I just want to thank
Oh, I'm
you.
sorry.
I want to thank you as well for being a working woman in the healthcare field. Thank you for being a caring person in the healthcare field. It appears to be that way.
It was a privilege.
And thank you for taking the time to come here today to answer our questions.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Any other questions? Anyone?
For what it's worth, I won't have any additional questions for any of the other witnesses. I've made I've gotten what I hope to get from the investigation. I speak only for myself, so just.
Thank you. Then we will move forward. Mr. Lindsay?
You want to hear from Mr. Trent?
Well, there is one other witness present if any of the board members would
Oh,
like to ask
sorry.
questions.
Like I said, I'm willing to forego questioning of that witness, but that's my position only.
I
And
don't
I don't know if others want to hear from that gentleman, but I don't need to.
I don't have any questions.
I don't either. I'd like to move forward, Mr. Lindsay. We have basically,
At this point, since the board has expressed that it's heard the testimony it wanted to hear, it's up to the board to decide what to do next. If I could just ask legal counsel, does the board have the ability to go into executive session to discuss this matter?
It's a quasi judicial proceeding, isn't it? So can we say with certainty, so that way the record's clear that we're going into executive session? Yes. So it's council's recommendation that we can do so? Very good. To deliberate our investigation. All right, very good. With that, I'll make a motion that we enter executive session.
Second.
roll call, please. All those in favor, roll call. Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
We're now going into executive session. About our executive session, a motion to make information regarding the outcome from our executive session.
Thank you. From the investigation and deliberations of the board in our quasi-judicial capacity, I just have a motion that we refer this matter and our investigative findings to the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office for further consideration of criminal investigation, and that we do what is our obligation already, and that is to share this with the Public Integrity Unit, or whatever that unit's called, of the Secretary of State's office. That's my motion.
I second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I would just like to, first of all, thank everyone that came as witnesses this morning. And thank you, Ms. Hall, but thank you to the family that provided the information, and also we are going to refer especially to the Integrity Committee. Basically, not that any crime has been committed, because you're innocent until proven guilty, but the fact that a form was completed, and we have not been able to obtain the information regarding what that particular faith-based person's faith-based is. So again, thank everyone for coming this morning, and Mercedes and your parents. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ms. Hall as well.
Thank you
Thank
all
you
very
very
much.
much.
Thank you, Ms.
And
Hall,
we
for your
will
service and
continue-
forward.
We will continue on with our agenda. Thank you, and you all are excused. Thank you. So, let me find my agenda. Got all this stuff. So,
Would
ne-
all staff please go to the boardroom? All staff to the boardroom. Thank you.
Mr. Linzer, do we have any other business?
I think the next item on your agenda is recognition of staff who
Right,
have
I
hit
hear them
service
being-
milestones, and
Yeah.
we're calling the staff into the boardroom now, but while we wait, it might be good to skip to agenda item 10, which is if there's any other business anyone wants to bring before the board.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Please.
State your name for us. Sorry. Old habits.
Pull that down if it's easier.
Can,
The button.
Sorry. My name is Ann Kissel. I just wanted to follow up on the Black Fork case that was brought up in the past at another meeting, and ask if anyone has followed up on that. From what I understand, that it had gone to, it was regarding voter registrations. It had gone to the Secretary of State, and was told that he sent the case to the county prosecutor, as far as I understand it. So I was just wondering if anyone has followed up on this.
Mr. Lindsay, can you give us an update, please?
That matter was referred to the Public Integrity Unit of the Secretary of State. They did follow up with us several times. I'm unaware if they had sent the item back to the Hamilton County prosecutors, but we certainly could get an update on that for the board at its next meeting.
Could we
Thank
please? Yeah, that'd be good.
Thank you.
Thank you for keeping that in front of us. You're right.
Okay, thank you.
Kenny, do you have anything you'd like to share with us? Give us an update, please.
Good morning. Kenny Henning with the Secretary of State's office. I can just add that the Secretary was here last Monday for the audit to see the commencement of that. He appreciated Jeremy and Sherry showing him around and speaking with the individuals who are conducting the audit. We look forward to some time off for some counties. Montgomery County does have an election January 7th, so they'll be working the weekend between Christmas and New Year's. But I hope the staff here enjoys some time off, and I'm glad Sherry's on a well-deserved trip right now. So.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Kenny.
Kenny. Thanks for all the great work that you do, too, representing the Secretary of State and coming here as well. Next on our agenda is the Hamilton County STAR, S-T-A-R, program, Service Time Achievement Recognition. Mr. Linzer. can
Yes,
move
thank
us
you, Madam
forward?
Chair. This being the board's last meeting of the year, we always take this time to recognize our employees who have hit service milestones. Careers in public service are hard. They are often thankless. The work in this building can be especially challenging, and especially over the last several years with extra elections and more pressure than ever on elections officials. I'm so proud of the staff that we have. I know the board has repeatedly expressed its pride in the work that gets done in this building. But we do have 6 individuals who have hit milestones. So, you should all have that list in front of you. And we are going to call each one up and say a little bit about them and present them with a pin. So, unless there's any further comments from the board.
I'd say let's call-
Our
let's-
first
let's start.
honoree is Election Specialist Phelps Jones, who is getting his 5-year pin. Phelps, can you come up to the front?
And I have the honor of, and we want to share this information about the great job that you're done in the past 5 years. You survived, number one, that's a big thing. So Phelps Jones is a steady hand in the operations department. A steady hand is really important to be in that department. As an election specialist, Phelps is responsible for programming the vote counting system, overseeing logistic and accuracy testing, supervising re-audits and recounts, and he runs the vote counting system on election night, all the way from the beginning to the end. He is which can be after midnight many times. He is also the voice of the accessible ballot. It is a very high-pressure job that he does, and he's known for staying cool. I'm going to add one word. He's known for staying cool, calm, under all the pressure, and that's, I think, is very important. He also co-chairs the office party planning committee, making sure everyone in this office gets a chance to have some fun and shake off any stress that they may have incurred during that year. Thank you.
Gwen, you have the pin.
Oh, Phelps, I'm so excited. Here we go. Your pen. Wait a minute. Did I open it the wrong way?
Oh, you got it.
There's no pen.
Oh,
There it is. There it is. Trying to stress you a little bit, but you didn't fall for it, did you? Thank you. So much. Thank you.
So Phelps is our only 5-year honoree, so we'll do the pictures in groups.
Okay.
So if we could just get the board and Phelps together for a picture here.
Okay.
Perfect, thank you.
If you prefer, yeah. Just make sure you get your.
Number 2, 10-year pin. Boston. Enthusiasm. As the registration specialist, Angie makes sure that voter rolls are accurate and up to date. Obviously, heard why that's important today, right? She works with other counties to make sure voters are registered in the right place. She also instrumental in implementing our new voter registration system. Thank you. Vamping our provisional processing procedures. So without further ado,
Great, thank you.
Jeremy Jamar, come on down. Okay, Jeremy Jamar is administrator in charge of all things absentee voting and community engagement. Over the last few years, he has led an effort to create community engagement programs to help connect voters with information and answer the public's questions about how elections are run. He also oversees the Early Vote Center, which processed a record 95,000 voters during the 2024 and is a model of efficiency with the capacity to handle over 800 voters per hour.
Right.
Now, I remember Jeremy when he first started. You know, he was like a little young kid, came in a cold call off the street, looking for a job. And look at him now, 15 years in the business.
Perfect.
Before I get started, I have some questions about your religious affiliation.
You gotta rip that Band-Aid off, quick.
Bankrupt receives her 30-year bid today. She is a font of knowledge and an invaluable resource for candidates and one of the DOE's campaign finance specialists. She also has the unenviable task of serving as secretary to this board, making sure meetings are properly noticed and minutes are recorded. Deb is a big fan of the show Survivor and helps the staff blow off a little steam by organizing the office Survivor pool. On a personal note, I've known Deb and the Acre family for a long time, and they've been wonderful public servants. Deb, we're so thrilled you're here. Congratulations.
Right, our next 30-year recipient is under the weather, Mike Schrader. So we're gonna do, what do you think? Do we come up here and do a group? We're gonna do a group shout out to Mike Schrader, and we can send a video. So you wanna, like,
Go on the dais.
you wanna get up there, maybe do a big selfie? And we'll do like, congratulations, Mike, on 30 years. How about that? Wow. Those guys been. Oh, my goodness. All right.
Can you do a video?
Okay. Wait, everybody stand up. Let's go here. All right, Mike Schrader, congratulations on 30 years.
All right, last but not least, Chuck Eckert, come on down. By the way, the meeting ran more smoothly with you today. Tell Sharon.
You can do a video of that too.
Not only has Administrator Chuck Eckert completed 30 years of public service, but all of them have been right here at the Board of Elections. He's a lifer. In that time, Chuck has administered 8 presidential elections. He still has hair. Amazing. He has seen the profession of elections administration evolve from much further. I think we're so. He has seen the profession of elections administration evolve from punch cards and paper poll books to the sophisticated technology of today. Chuck's attention to detail is well suited for
Yes,
Spencer?
thank you, Madam Chair. Just want to state for those in the room, we're going to have a reception in the break room to honor those people who we just recognized. Of course, the board is welcome to join that as well. Other than that, there's nothing else from staff.
I just want to congratulate everybody and wish everybody a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever you like to celebrate. The hard work is really appreciated. You guys are the best Board of Elections in the state of Ohio, and you guys deserve all the accolades.
And I want to ditto to what everyone is saying and just say, not only are you the greatest, but you rock. And that to me is so outstanding. The integrity that you bring to this department, to our office, to our building, and the way you meet and greet our individuals when they come in, no matter if they're coming in to vote or to raise questions, is absolutely phenomenal. So you always continue to strive for excellence, and I am so proud to be a part of this team. Thank you.
Happy holidays, everyone. Thank you. I'll move to.
You got to move to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
Okay,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? None but the devil, and he ain't here. That motion carries.